Hello, everyone. This is episode 31 of the most popular podcast in Ethiopia, Smooth Traffic. That's true, isn't it, King? We've had good ratings in Ethiopia.
Funnily enough, we're doing quite well in Iran.
Iran. Hello,
Really?
Iran. Hello, Ethiopia. Thanks for listening. In episode 31, we've got quite a rich episode for you. We've got legally sensitive material. We've got the SMMT 30-second car review challenge. I went off to an Abarth day up at Rockingham and to Silverstone to see a friend who races Lamborghini GT3s. And did Ben kill? Well, I've been on a few adventures recently, and not like off to the jungle adventures or like trekking through the Libyan mountains kind of deserts, that kind of adventures sort of things, but like I went to a Abarth day at Rockingham, which is a day for cars of the Abarth mark, and it was actually bloody good fun. The Abarth is like a little espresso on wheels, and I like coffee. It's like a little potent kind of city car with a sexy exhaust and a nice sprightly engine. It was really good fun. There was all sorts of people from all different ages there. That was the thing that got me, because I thought Abarth might be a little bit chavvy or a little bit kind of tuner scene, because they're very, very customizable, and everybody's kind of got their own the cars are very individual basically, and they go about things their own way. But it was great. There was everyone there, from like little children running around and causing mayhem on the remote control car game thing, to old people with their classic Abarths. So there were some beautiful classic Abarth models there. There was even a 695 SS for sale from like 1960. And apparently it was only 12 or 13 grand, so less than a new one.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
and it was in absolutely lovely condition and stuff, and it was gorgeous. Type of thing you wished was on a PCP deal, because it would never ever lose value. So you'd be paying like £4 a month or something. It'd be great. But no, it's great. I had a lot of chats with people who own an Abarth and who are passionate about Abarth and stuff, because I myself am quite interested in that car as being a possible next car for me, because I want something I can write about and do interesting things with. And it really won me over. I only had 60 seconds with a base 595 out on the circuit, but the brakes were good, the gearbox was good, but the sort of the way you sit in an Abarth is kind of a bit funny. You're a bit too high up, and everything seems a little bit far away. But I think for smaller people, or people who haven't got stupid limbs like me, it would be a bit difficult. But I think I fitted in it okay. But yeah, brief 60-second impression of the car was really good. It was a little bit quicker than I thought it would be. It was good fun. It was a bit like that Fiat 500 we drove at SMMT a year or so ago. It was kind of hilarious, but it was a little bit more flat and a little bit more excitable, shall we say. But it was great. The highlight of the day, though, was going out in Bernini Racing's brand new Fiat 124 rally car, which is a 300 odd horsepower roll cage equipped, sweat and petrol smelling beast basically. And I went out with the Italian guys, who heartily took the piss out of how white my legs were before we went out. As they do. The very, very funny guys, the Italians. But yeah, went out with the rally driver, another Italian chap whose name I can't remember, but he was bloody fast. And I tell you what, a rally car is something else, acceleration wise. The thing that struck me about the rally car was the gearbox. The gears just slam in like instantly. It doesn't take any time for the gears to shift. It just goes bang, 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 and the gears just slam straight in. So the speed that the car can get up to is really remarkable, and it was a hell of an experience. It was stinking of sweat and petrol in there. It was baking hot. I obviously had a helmet on and a balaclava, so I only did one lap with the rally driver, and I was already sweating after one lap. So I can't imagine what it feels like to be a rally driver in like San Remo in the summer or something, when you have to spend several hours in a car. I bet you get properly mucky. But it was a hell of an experience. It's a fantastic thing, that rally car. I would say if you get a chance to go in one, do it, but I don't think you will somehow. I just don't think that'll happen. But it was a different experience, and I've certainly gained an appreciation for rally cars now, because that's not even a world rally car, or a rally cross car even, which has got double the horsepower as well. So Yeah, amazing experience. I got dragged out by the big burly Italian guy afterwards 'cause I couldn't climb out of the thing properly. There's like a cage in the way, and because I have an abnormally shaped head, I look like one of those one of those stick people with a massive head. That's what I look like. And the problem is my legs would get in the car and my slightly chubby tummy would get in the car, but my massive big head had a problem getting in. So yeah, I just got dragged out. Basically, it was much easier. So it was quite funny for everyone watching, I think, and these sorts of embarrassing things tend to happen to me anyway. But yeah, great day out. Loads of great owners. Really good event. Merchandise for sale. Classic cars. Good coffee, as you would expect from an Italian brand. Yeah, it was well worth it. And if you're the type of person who owns one of those cars, I think go along to the next one next year somewhere. If you're in Europe, I think there's a few more this year. I think they're going to hold one in Verano not too soon, which I think is Abarth's home circuit. Maybe some Italian person can correct me or confirm me on that one. But yeah, I would recommend going along. Actually, it was really good fun, and yeah, all ages, all sorts of people. Everyone's very friendly community. Really, really good fun. So thanks Abarth for having me along. And yeah, I'll write up a little piece about it on Influx soon. And I'm hoping to get an Abarth on test from the Abarth press office as well, so I can spend a little bit more time with one of their cars and really go through what makes them different and what makes them special and that kind of thing, because I don't want to write something about a car I've only spent 60 seconds in.
So are you going for the 595 or are you going to go for the 124, or do you know?
I think I'll go for the 595 because that's kind of the quintessential Abarth at the moment. The 124 is kind of a new thing, and the community, the Abarth community, is very excited about it, but I kind of want to explore the traditional side of Abarth more, which suits us more at Influx as well, I think. So yeah, keep an eye out for that. I'll let you know what happens, obviously. I'll get in touch with the press office at some point and see if I can persuade them to let me borrow a car for a bit, so I can do a proper in-depth kind of talky righty review about it for you, not just a quick 60-second thingy.
Can I ask a quick question about the Abarth Day?
Yes.
Is it exclusively for Abarth owners, or can anyone turn up?
No, I think anyone can turn up. I think the issue is getting the ticket, because I got the ticket from an Abarth dealer in Slough, Thames Motor Group. Bloke called Sam at Thames Motor Group gave me a ticket for Abarth Day because I popped in there when I was in Slough not long ago, just to have a chat about the cars and stuff, and find out a little bit more, just for my own interest really. He had a spare ticket, so he let me go along.
Very kind of him.
Yeah, really nice of him. I think if you want to drive your car on track, because when you're an owner, you can turn up with your car and get a track pass and race against other Abarth people and stuff like that. Then I think it costs a little bit more, but well worth it, because you don't get to go out on track very often, and there's not many car brands that actually encourage you to actually go on the track, because obviously everyone's scared of you smashing your car up at high speed and the finance agreement kind of being invalidated because of that. But Abarth apparently don't give a toss, which is very kind of Italian, and they're sort of passionate kind of track people, aren't they? So the way they just went, forget about it, it's kind of like really cool. So yeah, recommend it. If you got one, get on the circuit, have a little race against the other guys. Talk to the guys who've tuned their car up and stuff, and I'm sure they can give you some tips. And there was a couple of really souped up ones there as well. So I've heard if you really, really tune an Abarth 595 up, you can get sort of 300 horsepower out of it.
Christ.
If you do,
for such a tiny car, that's seriously impressive.
Yeah, I can't imagine what that must feel like. But I think you'd have to do a really, really thorough tuning job. So I think that's probably spending thousands more than a few £100 on parts. But I've heard from the guys at the event you can get 595s that powerful, which is a scary proposition. But yeah, great fun, lovely owners, lovely people, great community. It was a smashing day. So yeah, get along to the next one if you're an Abarth person, or even just someone who's just a bit interested in the brand, a bit like me. And I don't think you'll regret it.
So I'd like to talk about something rather shocking, and I think probably quite close to everyone's hearts, even though they don't realise it. I am, of course, talking about the curse of Aaron Ramsey. Are you chaps familiar with this?
What? The fact that he's played for Arsenal for many years.
No,
if you're an Arsenal fan, that is.
I'm sure many people would agree with you, Ben. But no, every time Aaron Ramsey scores, someone famous dies.
Okay.
I'm just looking at the list. It's not like it's always a bad thing. Some people are in there that you're quite glad to see the back of.
That's a terrible thing to say about Steve Jobs, John.
Well, you know.
So go on then, tell us more.
So essentially, this is one of those ever popular internet memes that's going around. Aaron Ramsey scores goals, famous people die. We're talking people like Bin Laden, Colonel Gaddafi, which I'm sure are the two that John was referring to. But we're also talking about people like Alan Rickman, Robin Williams, Steve Jobs, David Bowie, you know, proper celebrities. Now, last weekend of this Premier League season, Aaron Ramsey scored. Several days later, unfortunately, we lost Roger Moore. And then he scored in the cup final as well. So, who's next? That's the question.
Oh, I thought it was going to be Cher. For no real reason. I was just looking at a picture of her the other day and I thought, she looks a bit too healthy. You know, when some people look a bit too healthy and you think, you can sort of...
How old is Cher?
She's old. I think she's in her 70s, isn't she?
Yeah, must be.
Something like that, because she was around back in like the very, very early era of music, wasn't she?
The early era of music.
Yeah, because music was
in sort of Mozart, you know, that sort of
music was invented in the 1960s. Everybody knows. Oh, yeah,
she's 71.
Yeah, yeah. I was going to go through her whole music career. Do you know her full name?
Cher, Mrs. Cher.
Is it Cheryl something?
No, it's Sherilyn Sarkisian.
Huh.
But yeah,
who knew?
Yeah,
okay,
she's
I'm not gonna remember that.
She's 71 apparently, and I saw a picture of her in concert the other day, and I thought, she looks a bit too healthy, and that made me think maybe there was a lot of kind of unnatural propping up going on, and someone could pull the plug at any minute. That was where my money was, but no, she's I mean, happily for her, she's still, you know, singing and walking around, and other things that Cher does.
Are you familiar with the website Deathlist? I think it's deathlist.net. Every year they pick 100 people
who
are going to die on that year.
Yeah.
And I was just having a look. They've actually predicted 5. Oh no, it's only 50 people they predict. So 5 of 50 have died already. So they've got people like on there, like say Stan Lee. He's 95, associated with Marvel Comics. It's quite funny.
Oh, I thought you just meant one bloke called Stanley then.
Stanley.
For a minute, I didn't cotton on.
So they've got Kirk Douglas on there because he's 101. So he's an actor.
Is he really 101 now?
Apparently so.
Crikey.
Yeah, he's older
It's on
than
the
time
internet,
itself.
must be true.
He was 50 when
Who
music
else
was
is on there that we
invented.
know? Jimmy Carter, he's 93, ex-president, obviously. They've got Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh on there, 96. He's a casual racist, apparently.
Is that their description of him?
That's what they've called him.
Part-time.
Doug Ellis, bring it back to football, ex-Aston Villa chairman.
God, is he still alive? Oh.
Cher isn't on there, so you might be wrong with that, Johnny, because these guys have got a good record, I think.
Well, we'll wait and
There you
see, won't we? We'll wait and see. I don't want that to sound like a threat. And you know, if someone does gun her down in the next few weeks, I want it on record that I didn't actually mean it that way. But I'm still quietly confident.
Is Paul Gascoigne on that list, Ben?
He's not, but he should be, to be fair. He's got to
Yeah.
be a wild card, hasn't he?
I mean, he's just turned 50. I'd have thought big birthday blowout and...
Ironically, there's someone on there called Jill Gascoigne, who's an actress, who's 80. You know.
Good to know. I presume there's
Is
no
that Paul
relation.
Gascoigne's drag act?
Oh, David Prowse's on there as well. Darth Vader. He's 82.
Oh,
He's on their list. Let's hope not. There we go. Anyway.
maybe we should start guessing who else is on the list. No, that'll take way too long.
It seems a bit morbid, really.
I was going to say, worst feature ever. So anyway, yeah, getting back to the serious point at hand, what can we do to stop Aaron Ramsey from scoring goals?
Tie his legs together.
Put him in goal. He's not gonna score from in goal, is he? I mean, he struggles to score. Well, he struggled to score this season, so
If he scores an own goal, will someone come back to life?
that's a good question.
Maybe.
Has he ever scored an own goal? That's one for the research team, isn't it?
Yep, we'll get the smooth traffic boffins on that.
Because we could see Cilla Black return to the world if Aaron Ramsey scores an own goal.
Maybe it's the exact opposite.
What, more people die?
No. What I mean is, obviously we're talking about Aaron Ramsey, but if someone who never scores, like if Tony Hibbert came out of retirement, John, which I'm sure you'd be over the moon about,
I'd be delighted. Play him up
and
front.
then actually scored a goal, maybe that would resurrect someone.
Who would it resurrect? What if it was Jesus?
I suppose it depends how powerful Tony Hibbert's goal is, doesn't it?
What, like if he managed to kick the ball so hard it ignited.
That would upset a lot of religious people if somebody scored a goal and it brought back Jesus.
I don't think it upset them. I think it would give them a lot to talk about, and it probably like rile a few people who probably thought that religion was a bit fake. But I'd love to see it happen. I reckon we should try and get on the phone to Tony and just see if he can pop out of retirement just to try and. I mean, if he can just stand in the 6-yard box with a lighter, trying to set a ball on fire before he kicks it in, then that would be a worthy experiment. I think. I think maybe email him and I guess it's something like, because Tony Hibbert's a very boring bloke, so I guess something like tony.hibbert@google.com or something like that, because he won't have an inventive email address, will he? Anyone who knows Tony Hibbert knows he's pretty straightforward. At the worst possible case, it'd probably be hibbert.tony. So I reckon...
because Tony.Hibbert was already taken?
Yeah, so I reckon we could find him quite easily and just ask him to, maybe slip a lighter into his socks, stand in a 6-yard box, and just see if he can resurrect Jesus. Because if he does, celebrity, straight away.
He's going to set himself on fire and be on the list, isn't he?
Do you think he's on Twitter?
What, Tony?
Or is
Do you want me to
that
have a
too
look?
exciting? I was just having a look now.
Oh, are you?
Is that too exciting, do you think?
What, for Tony Hibbert to be on Twitter? Well, he doesn't have a lot to say, does he? I can't see him being on Twitter because I don't remember him ever saying anything, like in an interview or anything like that. Does he even talk?
I don't have a blue tick to...
Of course you don't have a blue tick. Christ.
No, I don't have a blue tick, but I can't find a blue ticked account. There is an @TH2 official. Former Everton defender, I'm new to all this, give me a follow, thumbs up.
How many followers has he got? 12.
261. And on the 20th of February, he wished himself a happy birthday. So I really hope that is Tony Hibbert.
I reckon it is. I reckon that's nailed on.
He's posted 18 tweets since September 2016.
He's done well.
What's he been doing? You're meant to tweet all the time, like every day.
I don't think you have to tweet all the time.
I mean, he's never had a lot to say though, has he? So maybe that's just it. I don't want to judge him. I mean, if he is, the person who can result in the second coming of Jesus, then probably I should cut him some more slack.
In fairness, based on the tweets that he's made, it would appear that he signed up to Twitter just so that he could congratulate Gareth Barry on making his 600th Premier League appearance.
Probably could have done that on the phone, couldn't he? Probably didn't think that through. Maybe he doesn't have a phone. Maybe he's one of those people who just doesn't have a phone.
Maybe. Well, we'll try and get in touch with Mr. Hibbert and see if he can assist us in resurrecting the dead.
I'd love to see
I
that.
don't even know who he is, to be fair.
He's a right back, Ben.
Okay.
Imagine if all this time Tony Hibbert was a necromancer and we didn't realise. That'd be amazing. Let's hope so. What a surreal turn in this conversation.
What was this all about? Oh, Aaron Ramsey. Yeah.
Yeah, Aaron Ramsey, the celebrity killer. I mean, if it was only 3 or 4, that would be a harsh thing to say, but what have we got? Like a list of 12 people that Aaron Ramsey has killed with his own feet over the last 3 or 4 years. When is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, there's 8, but I reckon we can add another couple to that now. So
because obviously there's Roger Moore.
Yeah, Roger Moore and the other one.
John Noakes.
John Noakes, that's the one. I don't think I know him.
He was a Blue Peter presenter.
Oh, so that's because all the old people are a bit upset about it, and I'm looking at him going, I don't think I know who he is.
He was actually on death list. That was one of
Was
the
he
5
really?
predicted. Yeah.
He
was ill or something. He's 83, so he's not ridiculously old.
Yeah, he's. I think he's considered by many to be the Blue Peter presenter, like him and old.
Richard Bacon.
I was going to say Peter Purvis, not Richard Bacon.
Oh, right. I was a big fan of Richard Bacon.
Him and Peter Purvis are the two that are considered as like the male Blue Peter presenters from back in the day when it was popular.
That's enormously harsh on Connie Huck, though, isn't it?
Well, she's not male, so I clarified that quite clearly.
Even so, I don't think we should be dividing Blue Peter presenters by their gender. I think that's a very old-fashioned concept.
It's an old-fashioned show, John.
Yeah, all right, I'll give you that. Yeah,
Are we talking about this show? Or... King's old-fashioned, to be fair, so he'd like to do that.
I reckon we should have King's old-fashioned segment in every episode where he talks about something that I've never heard of, like duck grease.
Or how he likes to read maps.
Yeah, maps covered in duck grease because that makes them waterproof and you can go out in the rain.
What?
Is it duck grease you cover stuff with to make it waterproof, or is it something else? Something like that, isn't it?
I literally have no idea what you're talking about.
No.
If anyone old is listening to this podcast, tweet us at Smooth Traffic if it's duck grease that makes stuff waterproof. I'm sure we used to cover stuff in grease.
If anyone's still awake listening to this podcast,
Yeah.
thank you very much.
I don't understand history, like the technology.
History and technology are two very different things, John.
I've got a very historical and technological sweet spot, which is anything in the last sort of 10 years, really. Before
10
that,
minutes.
before that, it gets confusing and my computer, I don't really know how it works. I just write things on it. So yeah, duck grease is probably slightly outside of my sweet spot. I'm sure they had some uses for it though, waterproof wise.
Kingy, I have a new app that I think you'll be very excited about because
Is it offensive?
Yeah.
So you always like map reading, don't you?
Yeah.
And I presume that's because you enjoy getting lost and finding new things. Because you do get lost a lot, I've noticed.
I don't get lost. I hate getting lost.
He gets lost all the time. He's like, oh, I should have turned off there. Which way should we go now?
When have I ever done that?
Always. It's always happened. Sometimes, I'm sure it has. Anyway.
Well, yeah, everyone gets lost, but come on, just get the offence over and done with.
It's not offensive.
Is this emotionally lost, or is this lost as in a sense of actually being in a car and being in a field surrounded by sheep and going like, what's going on?
No, it's not John lost.
Anyway, so this app called Sidekicks is an urban discovery app. So the idea is
This sounds like it's related to walking.
so it's technically interest-based map sort of work, as it were. So
Okay.
you say, I want to get from A to B, and it knows what your interests are, and it tries to divert you to places along the way that will interest you. So for someone like yourself, Johnny, as you do like a coffee or two, if you say you wanted to come up to visit me, it would take you on a route that stopped you off at a couple of very highly rated coffee bars or coffee shops, or whatever you call them.
Okay.
And for Kingy,
I
it would
like
take
that.
him
I like that
to
idea.
museums and dogging places, and yeah, exactly, things like that. So
Yeah.
so it takes you somewhere you need to go.
Or the Museum of Dogging.
Exactly. So it doesn't take the quickest route; it takes the route that it thinks will be most interesting to you.
Okay.
So you personalise it, build a profile of what you like to do, and it takes you there.
King, I think you should test this because Ben obviously can't test this because Ben doesn't have any interests really. He's just an existing sort of human form. Nobody really knows what he is or what he does or if he's even real. So
There's only so many branches of Wix that he can go to.
That's it. It would just take me on a lap of the DIY shops, wouldn't it?
So yeah, I reckon give it a go, King. Maybe type in the things you like. Type in a couple of obscure things you don't really like as well, just to see if you like them. Maybe like, I don't know, waxwork museums or or making a waxwork sculpture yourself at home using wax, and maybe some stray pots of duck grease or something, because I'm sure they use that in wax making as well.
And then navigate yourself to work and see where it takes you.
Yeah, because maybe you'll stop by some kind of wax person's house on the way, get some really really nice wax, and then you can make a waxwork of Ben.
How would I know what it looks like?
Yeah, good. Well, yeah, good point. Good point. Basically, take a mannequin as inspiration.
You bastards.
A mannequin.
We'll give that a test. So it's called Sidekicks. If anyone else has ever tried it, then do tweet us at Smooth Traffic and let us know. If you haven't, then we'll give it a go and let you know how it goes on.
Yeah, King can give it a go. Just make him give it a go anyway. It'd be really funny to find out where he's ended up.
Because he hates navigation systems anyway, so it'll piss him off.
He does, yeah.
Even if it works really well, it'll annoy him, so that's good.
Maybe we can get King to write down all of his interests on a piece of paper and then get him to walk through a town, and anywhere that matches those interests, he'll just go inside them. Like if King writes down, I don't know, shorts, he'll walk past a clothes shop with shorts in and he has to go in. Maybe that's like the analog version of this app. That would be more sort of King friendly.
So basically you're saying that it's a shopping list.
Are you particularly interested in shorts?
Yeah, King loves shorts more than he loves...
King, how many pairs of shorts do you have?
1.
Get out of town. You have more than that.
No.
Yeah, genuinely.
No, I don't buy that.
No, genuinely.
You always-
The
Have you
others,
just thrown some out?
yeah, well, not recently, but they've been thrown out over the last 12 months probably, just because they've they've become old, and I have a habit of wearing through the seats. So on account of my massive arse.
Yeah, I can imagine. You only have one pair of shorts.
Best not to.
Oh dear.
No, best not to.
So genuinely, I only have one pair of shorts at the moment.
If anyone has any shorts they'd like to donate to Rob, or maybe a tent that we can, adapt.
P.O. Box, Smooth Traffic, London, W13444. Right then, well, it's that time of the year when us people in the car game go to Millbrook Proving Grounds to play with cars for a day. It is, of course, SMMT Test Day, and I couldn't go this year, so Rob and Ben went in my place, and they've driven 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, around 10 cars on the day. So, and I know they've been doing some filming, and they've all been very professional about that. So, instead of actually us going through the cars, I'm going to set them a 30-second review challenge for each car, if you think you can cope with that.
All right.
And you've got your little list in front of you there, haven't you? I have on my phone a stopwatch thingy. So what I will do is I will give you 30 seconds and tell me when you're ready, and I will start the timer.
Are you going to give us the names, or are we just going to have to include that as well? Because
No,
that
you-
could seriously affect the 30-second limit,
Oh my god.
No, you just go.
Let's not over-engineer this.
Just go through the list. Just go through the list. You can do it.
Right.
All right.
Yep. Be pro.
Ready, Ben?
Yeah.
Okay, your time starts now.
Okay, so we started the day with the Volkswagen Amarok, which is the big VW pickup. It's big, it's quite loose on steering, and it's a bit disturbing under braking.
Didn't you nearly crash it?
When Kingy throws it into corners and then goes, shit, these brakes aren't as good as I thought. The passenger brake was being well used. I was probably Flintstone style, trying to stick my feet through the floor to slow it down, but it was a bit of a lump, but
Stop.
it's a pickup, isn't it?
So, you've had 30 seconds of the Volkswagen Amarok there, and all you've told me about is how King nearly crashed it. Never mind.
I
We'll
didn't
move on to the
nearly
next one.
crash it. Hang on a minute.
And your time starts now.
So next car was the e-Golf. So nice and modern. It was quite nice actually. It was almost identical to a normal Golf, other than the engine, as far as I could tell. Interior was identical, so very familiar feeling. Seemed to drive quite nicely. Fairly quick off the line. Not Tesla speed, but certainly nippy. King?
Yeah, very enjoyable. Obviously, as you say, electronic. The wheels were different on the outside as well. They had special wheels to indicate that you're driving an electronic car.
Brilliant. What a waste of time.
So the
Brilliant.
e-Golf,
Oh.
the e-Golf there, all I remember about that is that it was nice and it had wheels. Okay.
So I said it's the same as the old Golf. Brilliant. Okay. Our video reviews on YouTube will be slightly more detailed than this. Hopefully.
Well, let's hope
Probably
so.
just as useless though.
Let's hope so.
Okay.
Okay, the next car 3. Your time starts now.
So the next car we took out was the Mazda MX-5 RF, which has got that very exciting hard top, which is very quick to go up and down.
Love hard top.
But it lacked a bit of body stability when you had the roof down. Anything to add, Ben?
You kept calling it the RCF, which was annoying. I think it was quite nice. It's quite cramped though. There's not much space in the car, so if you've got fairly long legs, then it would be a bit of a chore over time.
And
In the passenger seat.
So the Mazda MX-5 RF, not for people with long legs and a bit floppy. Okay. Next car number 4. Your time starts now.
So this was the Mazda 2 GT. Actually, quite good fun. I don't really know what to say about the GT. I'll check our YouTube review for more advice. It was quite good if I remember. It was quite quick, quite nice in the corners. Surprisingly fun.
I really enjoyed it. It's a good super mini with sporty overtones, a little wing and a little fin on the back as well. So very enjoyable.
Ironically,
Do we have to use all the time?
Cuts.
it's probably one of the better cars in terms of a surprise. It was good.
Yeah.
We've got nothing to say about it. Oh well.
I'll let you have that because you actually stopped about 3 seconds before the end there. So
Can we add that on to our next one?
good reviewing.
no, because Ben carried on after I said cut for a little bit anyway. So it kind of evened out. That's fine. That sounded interesting. I quite like to drive one of those actually because the
I recommend
CX-3 we drove last year was good, wasn't it, Kingy?
Yeah.
Good car. Okay, so we're moving on to car number 5. Your car. What? Your time starts now.
Probably the highlight of the day, maybe.
Get on with it,
actually,
King.
No, it'll change that. Ford Mustang 2.3 litre EcoBoost,
Okay.
convertible, delightful to drive.
lovely
Very
car.
impressed by the handling and stuff. It goes around corners.
You can't help but smile when you're in it. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Just so much charm
Speed,
to it.
brakes, the whole package, all there. If you're not worried about having a Mustang with a V8, then definitely the EcoBoost is the way forward.
It's still good, even if it's not that powerful.
Yeah.
Or it's not as powerful.
Decent. I like that. That was your best 30-second review so far. Could have been better if King hadn't wasted the first 10 seconds, obviously bigging it up there. Oh, it's
That's how
amazing.
confident I was.
Saying
It's a dream.
it's going to be the highlight, and then saying, but not at this time. But there's a better one coming. Yeah, well done.
The review for the Ford Mustang EcoBoost convertible is already on our YouTube channel, I believe, because I think I retweeted it earlier.
Yes, you did.
Top work. Efficient content throwing out stuff there. Really well done. So the next car is car number 6, I think, isn't it? Unless I've lost count.
Yep.
Number 6. Your time starts now.
So the next was the Renault Twizy, which is obviously a ridiculous little two-seater.
Oh, yeah.
Great fun, though. It took a while to get in, especially when you're squashed in behind Rob. But yeah, it was good fun. We took it around the little town course, so it's lots of little tight corners. It wasn't particularly quick, but when you're doing 30 mile an hour in that thing, bloody hell, it feels quick. It's terrifying.
Best part of it was coming back to Renault and the guy who got in next being surprised that there were 2 of us in it and that we'd managed to get it up to 30 mile an hour with 2 people in it.
Well, when one of them was you, to be fair, that's what surprised him.
Oh, good memories from last year. I nearly broke it last year. Do you remember when I went over the speed bump in the Twizy,
Yes.
King? Yeah.
The speed bump wasn't there this year, thankfully.
They probably heard the bang from last year and thought, "Oh, better take that out." Good review. Car 7. Your time starts now.
Next up was the Renault Zoe, which is more electrical goodness. Particular highlight for me of that was the digital dash, which had some really good sort of graphics and stuff indicating
So
when you
pointless animations is what's impressed me about this car. So it's cheap. It was actually quite nicely styled inside. It was, decent. It was comfy, and Kiki got to make jokes about being inside Zoe. He thought he pulled. It was good, I thought. It's not particularly quick again, but...
And time's up.
I love how you've properly sort of serious that up there. I'm talking about the nice graphics, and then you're like, no, that's irrelevant.
Oh, you kept banging on about that when we were in the thing. Oh, look at that. When I take my foot off the brake, it suggests it's powering the battery again. It's like, it's just an animation that they probably knocked together in 5 minutes. Yet you're sitting in a, electric car. Lots of modern stuff in
Hey,
there.
I enjoyed it.
So from the Renault Zoe, we've learned that King likes animation. So, King, I'd actually recommend Hey Arnold. That's a good animation. Obviously, that was out a few years ago, but it's a solid animation, and I think you'd enjoy it. Also, Studio Ghibli, they do some good animation as well.
Oh, they do, actually. I'm a big fan.
He's getting focused on the animations on the dashboard, and I wish you'd just pay attention to the bloody road. He's like, oh, look, it's doing now. Focus on the fucking corner that's coming.
I've had a new sort of mix-up idea. The Renault Zoe by Studio Ghibli. That'd work, wouldn't it? Okay, car 8. Is there a car 8?
Yeah, there is.
There is.
Cool. Your time starts now.
So car 8 was the SsangYong Tivoli XLV,
Ugh.
which was ugly, really.
Ugh.
But I suppose, it's a matter of personal taste. Interior was lots of red leather, which again, not my cup of tea.
Sticky.
It was large, a bit dated, I would say. The tech and the interior and stuff.
Well, yeah,
Had some modern technology,
although,
but
yeah,
it's just badly executed.
The sort of lane assistance tech, we took it on the high-speed bowl, and, well, basically let go of the steering wheel and it kept you in the lane.
Stop.
Which had Kid giggling like a schoolgirl. He loved it. He was like, oh, just give me a leg.
There'll be a video including that, so don't worry.
Yeah.
That sounds good. So it worked. So the SsangYong Tivoli XLV, or whatever it's called, it actually worked. Yeah. That was what I got from that. But perhaps it shouldn't have worked because it's slightly outdated. Car 9. Off we go. Starting now.
So the actual highlight of the day, the Maserati Quattroporte S.
Oh, you bastard.
Which was just an absolute delight to drive.
Bastard.
One of the finer things in life, without doubt.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's just difficult to put into words. Yeah.
Just moved so well. It was just it was lovely.
The complete package. If you've got 90 odd grand to spend, which was what the one that we had was spec'd up to, just go out and spend it. That's all I can say. Just do it.
It was amazing. Yeah, no faults
Stop.
at all, as far as I could tell.
Enough about that. Don't care.
I think we should talk more about it, actually, because
No.
you're clearly annoyed.
Don't care. And car number 10, your time starts now.
So it was late in the day, so we took out the Twingo GT. We were just too late to get on the track, so we just did a lap of the car park. But it seemed like quite good fun, so it's not really a proper review. It was nice. The styling and stuff was nice, wasn't it? So
Yeah.
the spec sheet looked good.
and it handled like a Twingo in the small circular motion that we took it in.
So yeah, that was a shame. We'd like to have driven that, and Kingy would have liked to have driven another car at the end of the day, an Alpha.
Have we had our
Stop.
30 seconds yet?
Yep, you have now. Car number 11, King's Mysterious car number 11, your time starts now.
King, you wanted to drive an Alpha.
Yeah, so I was the last name on the list for the day to drive the Alpha 4C, and well, unfortunately, yeah, the track was closed, so I didn't get to drive it.
But you did get to drive an Alpha, didn't you?
I got to drive my Mito home, yeah. So it's all swings and roundabouts, really, isn't it?
Christ. I mean, that's a big step down, isn't it, really?
Just a bit.
Well, I don't know, because I didn't drive the 4C.
Let's assume that it is a big step down.
Let's presume that they're one as bad as t'other.
Well done, lads. You've managed to review 11 cars in under 11 minutes. Just ticked over 11 minutes now, so well done. That's actually impressive. Although we were sticking to a 30-second schedule, we obviously talked a bit in between, so don't know if that's good or bad, but I'd say you handled that pretty well. A lot of giggling. I don't think you were taking it seriously enough. But yeah, good effort. I can't really remember what you said about the cars now, so I guess that's that.
The videos will give a lot more in-depth opinions from two of the least well-suited people to be doing car reviews, probably. So,
Absolutely.
You know, podcast of the people. Woo!
Yeah, podcast of
Waste
the
of time.
people. Videos due out on YouTube. Or you can just re-listen to this segment, perhaps, if you want to hear
Over and over again, if you want to make detailed notes.
some do proper car research with smooth traffic, stats and stuff. Well, people who know me might remember, I think probably 2 years ago, I interviewed Marco Mapelli, the Lamborghini squad driver, after he set a record around the Nürburgring in the Aventador. And since then, we've kind of just kept chatting. So Marco was in England not long ago at Silverstone for the one of the rounds of the Blancpain GT3 International Racing Car Showdown thing. Which official name I can't remember. But Marco said, "Oh, why didn't you pop along and come and see the race?" I was like, "Great, I will." So I popped along Silverstone to see the race. Marco very kindly, and Attempto Racing, his team, very kindly, took me under their wing for the day. So I was actually inside the garage for the whole race and hanging out with the guys and seeing firsthand how they do their thing, really. And it was fascinating getting to talk to Marco about, what his job involved on the day and stuff, and what he'd had to put up with and how his job was, really. It'd be a bit like, well, I said to him, like, if he ever wants to come and watch me do my work on my laptop, he's more than welcome, but it would be a lot less exciting than being in the pits at a racing circuit watching a Lamborghini get put back together. So he's probably going to say no to that, but there we go. No, it was really, really good fun. It was a 3-hour, I guess it's an endurance race, 3 hours, so the 3 drivers in the car, they do an hour each, and it was a tough day for the team. They qualified down in 32nd, I think. Qualifying went wrong for various reasons, and they lost a bit of time on the pit stops during the race as well, but they still managed to recover to 19th, and I think given that the car was a 55 car field at the start of the race, and it was absolute mayhem at the start trying to get 55 GT3 cars around all the first lap or so, the guys did pretty well, actually. Well, what's it like being in the pit lane during a race? Really, really tense at the start. I was surprised how tense it was at the start, because the guys have been working flat out since the very early hours of the morning, getting everything ready and preparing everything. And obviously they'd been there a couple of days before as well, trying to do their best in qualifying and car setting up and all that stuff. And then the race starts, and they're in P32 in the middle of a 55 car field, and there's not enough room on the track for the cars. And you're thinking it could all be over in the first 30 seconds, but luckily it wasn't. But so it's very, very tense at the start of the race. Everyone's sort of in the garage just watching the TV screens, just with fingers crossed and stuff, basically. So yeah, it kind of, for the first few minutes, it's quite tense. You stay quite glued to the screen and stuff, and then because it's a 3-hour race, after a while you kind of just sort of mill around and go and see the guys out the back. Like, how are you? Is everything all right? Some people have a sandwich, a drink. There was a coffee machine.
What kind of sandwiches?
I don't know what kind of. Well, what did I have in the end? It was like it was a funny mix of like German and Italian, because the team Attempto, they're German, and all the guys who work for them are sort of German, but most of the drivers I think were Italian or Swiss, I think. So there was a lot of sort of Italian meats and stuff in there, but also in a kind of German soft cheese kind of way as well. A bit strange, but it was tasty anyway. So the hybrid between Germany and Italy clearly works in terms of sandwiches at least. But no, it was a really great experience. Thank you ever so much to Attempto and Marco for having me along. I'm hoping later this year to try and get along to see them again, because they said the nicest thing was at the end of the day, because I've managed to stay out of the way and not cause trouble, and for once in my life not knock anything over. Although I did spill a sandwich in the pit lane. So I had to quickly wipe up the mayonnaise that was on the floor where everyone was running past using the oilcloths. But apart from that, I didn't cause any other problems, which meant they said I can come along to another race sometime. So I said I'd try
Who
and...
spills a sandwich?
Well, like when you have a sandwich,
That's not a thing.
a bit too much
That is not a thing.
mayo and cheese, and it just kind of just drops out the bottom. Well, that kind of happened, but I didn't realise until I'd finished the sandwich. So there was actually quite a bit of like mayo-y, coleslaw-y, cheesy stuff on the floor, and obviously the mechanics were running around doing their thing, and I thought, I better clear that up before the boss sees it. So I did.
If you kill a mechanic with mayonnaise, there'd be problems, I think.
Yeah, that would have been
dear.
that would have tipped the guys over the edge, I think, because they weren't having a very good day at the best of times. It was well, even when it was going well, it was still going bad, so it wasn't great for them. Even without my mayonnaise all over the floor.
Not a euphemism.
Not a euphemism. I heard King sniggering there. He's so mature. So yeah, I'm hoping to go along to Spa 24, which I think is in September. I don't know when it is, but it's not too far away. The guy said I could come back, and it would be nice to see how an endurance race works over a period of 24 hours, and not just 3, because I bet that is absolutely horrendous for the guys. So I'd quite like to see it firsthand. So fingers crossed I can get over there to Belgium in the year 2017, sometime this year, whenever it is, I don't know. And I'll be able to give you a bit more insight on what it's like being with a GT3 team in a very tense and long race like that. The following segment contains legally sensitive material, and as such has been edited heavily. Well, you might have heard in the last episode that King has high blood pressure, so it's important we kind of keep his blood pressure down. Nothing gets anyone's blood pressure up more than receiving a parking ticket. Does it, Robert King?
I mean, I don't know what to say, John. Obviously, your blood pressure was higher than mine, so
Allegedly.
It's nice that you keep talking about it.
It makes him calm thinking about how your blood pressure is.
It's helping me, yeah.
But no, I suppose nobody really wants to get a parking ticket at the best of times.
Criminal.
King is now, yeah. If you get a parking ticket, you've got a criminal record. So, King, you've got a criminal record now, and you should be ashamed of yourself. You're a murderer.
Well, let me tell you a story then, shall I, John?
Okay.
So I arrive at my car the other day to find the parking ticket on the car. This statement has been redacted. Where you parked the other day, John? Yeah. You know where you were parked until that morning? Yeah.
Yep.
So I came to my car at just after to be greeted by a ticket. First of all, I opened the ticket and they put the make of my car down as Fiat. That's...
He's very upset.
Well, that's just...
That's cause for complaint as it is.
But then I noticed that they got the vehicle registration wrong. So, unfortunately, that means that it is completely and utterly void.
Yeah, but some poor sucker has been charged with a parking ticket.
No, so I checked it out. The registration plate that they've put down does not exist on a
Does it
UK
not?
car.
Oh, that's good.
So it's just a case of following this up with the council now, really.
So do you reckon you'll get away with it then? The council will just say, sorry, Mr. King. Do they give you compensation for parking tickets, or they just say, sorry?
Well, he hasn't paid it, has he? So.
Well, I haven't paid anything, so I can't pay it because it doesn't apply to my car.
And what's funny is that they'll say to him, oh yeah, no, okay, that's wrong. Can we have your registration plate, please? And he'll say, go fuck yourself. Because they don't know who you are.
But this is the thing, because obviously, you know, they can obviously look and check the photos that were taken, and they'll see that the registration plate doesn't match the registration plate on the notice.
Yeah, it's worth checking just in case they say actually our photos are correct. So tough.
No, apparently it doesn't matter. I mean, I'll be phoning the council to let them know about the mistake that they've made, because it's just
to rub it
polite, really, isn't it?
Shouldn't you write them a letter?
Well, I don't know, because if I start writing to them, it basically makes it seem like I'm challenging it, and I'm not challenging the penalty, because the registration plate on the penalty isn't my car, so it's not for me to challenge that penalty.
So they think... Wait, I'm confused. Did they stick a sticker on the wrong car, or was it the right car, but they've all buggered it up?
They've put a penalty charge notice on my car.
Yeah.
But the registration number doesn't match.
Ah.
Which makes it void.
Especially given the fact they've got the make wrong as well.
The make is irrelevant apparently, but yeah, the vehicle registration is the vital piece of evidence, because should it not be paid or challenged within 28 days, then they'll contact the DVLA in order to issue a notice to owner, which they won't be able to do because that registration plate doesn't exist.
Does that mean you have to challenge? Can you just not let it just tick down then and just wait for it to go away?
Well, I could do, but obviously that's not my way, is it? I still need to phone them to make sure, because at least if I phone them and say, look, you know, this is wrong, I've made every effort to make it clear to them that it's wrong.
Well, that's good news then, because I think there's nothing lower than issuing parking tickets to cars that are not in a particularly dangerous space or doing anything wrong, because there is nothing wrong about being minutes over time or over time parked where cars can clearly get past absolutely fine, because it's huge. There's loads of room around there to get cars around, so it's kind of mad they don't use more sensibly, really. But yeah, I'm glad about that, King, because you know getting a parking ticket is crap. So where does Smooth Traffic as an organisation stand on the use of violence against traffic wardens?
That's a no tolerance policy from me, John.
Slap him with a fish.
Ben, any opinion? Suppose you don't come near any parking attendances, do you?
I get a lot of ticket inspectors on my train in the morning. They're a pain in the ass. Yeah.
King, do you remember that time when I accidentally took out that?
What's a dinner?
It's not often you see a on the road, but when one does inevitably wander onto the road, sometimes you've got to take advantage of it. It's free, isn't it? Ben, weren't you involved in?
Oh, fucking hell, John! Jesus Christ!
It's alright, the timelines won't match.
Yeah, that's the problem here.
Were you?
Oh my god!
Oh my god, it does match. I might tweet that. Oh my god. I've stumbled across the biggest conspiracy in British history, and it happens to be Ben killed. Christ, who would have thought it? That stayed hidden for a long time as well. Wasn't that Basil Brush? Is Basil Brush a squirrel?
Basil Brush isn't a squirrel.
Well, that wraps up this very, very exciting and legally sensitive episode of Smooth Traffic. Thanks very much for listening, especially if you're in Iran, Somalia or Ethiopia. Some of our biggest fans are there, so hello to you guys. Thanks for listening. And, you know, we love you. One day we're going to do a tour. Smooth Traffic Live. It's going to have groupies. It's going to have Haribo. It's going to have all the good stuff. And we're going to be there at some point, so just keep an eye out for that. If you've got anything to say, tweet us at Smooth Traffic. If it involves anything legal, DM us directly, because we probably can't reply to it in public. And yeah, until next time, drive safe. Don't be like Tiger Woods. Don't drive. And yeah, stay tuned. Follow us at Smooth Traffic, at the Jonny Edge, at Robert King ESQ, and at the Face of Ben. And yeah, we'll let you know when something else comes out. Keep an eye out for those YouTube videos. Ben and Rob work quite hard on those, apparently.